Human nature is fascinating, isn't it? Neurobiology and psychology help explain and describe our behavior, why we do the things we do. Our brain controls our actions, from decision-making and feeling love to dreaming and forming habits, even remembering stuff. But sometimes we wonder, why do I feel, think, or act a certain way? Well, we're about to share 16 fun psychology facts that might give you some insight. Fact hash 1. Multitasking. You might think you're a multitasking pro, but our brains can really only focus on one thing at a time. Sure, it seems like you're doing multiple things simultaneously, but your brain is just rapidly switching between tasks. We can walk and talk because those are automatic actions. But for complex tasks, the brain struggles to jump back and forth. Like, you can't truly read a book while watching a show. Fact hash 2. Gossip. Be honest, do you prefer gossiping or having deep conversations? If you said deep conversations, I've got bad news. 75 to 80% of our conversations involve gossip. We use it to gather info about others and form opinions. Fact hash 3. Social media addiction. How often do you check Instagram or other social apps? Some of us are constantly scrolling and refreshing. That's because dopamine makes us crave new info. It's a neurotransmitter that signals a desire to seek out novel information. Scanning your feeds satisfies that urge, albeit temporarily. Fact hash 4. Habits. Ever wondered how long it takes to form a habit? People used to think 21 days, but recent research shows it's more like 66 days on average. That explains why those workout resolutions often don't stick past January. Fact hash 5. Hand-holding love. Holding hands with your significant other. Good news! That simple act reduces stress and physical pain. Hand-holding lowers cortisol, the stress hormone, and raises oxytocin, the love hormone, levels. So go ahead and entwine those fingers for an instant mood boost. Fact hash 6. Junk food cravings? Can't resist that bag of chips or cookies sometimes? The same brain region is involved in addictions to food and drugs. Junk foods trigger the brain's reward system by releasing dopamine. Your brain then subconsciously drives you to repeat that rewarding behavior, making unhealthy habits hard to kick. Fact hash 7. Dunning-Krueger effect. Did you know educated people tend to underestimate their intelligence? It's called the Dunning-Krueger effect. Essentially, some folks can't accurately judge their abilities, often underrating their own competence and potential. Fact hash 8. Long-term memory. Ever recall a memory only to realize details had gotten fuzzy or distorted? That's because your brain alters memories every time you revisit them. Research shows you don't actually remember the original event, just the last time you remembered it. Fact hash 9. Decision-making. Wonder how you make decisions? Hate to break it to you, but most choices happen subconsciously. If every decision required conscious deliberation, your brain would overheat. Our minds process so much data per second, there's no way to consciously control it all without frying some circuits. Fact hash 10. Nature and the brain. Did you know being in nature causes your brain to release certain chemicals? They help you think more clearly and relieve stress. Getting outdoors allows your prefrontal cortex to recharge. Studies also show nature walks boost mental health. Fact hash 11. Rejection and physical pain. Ever wonder why rejection can feel physically painful? Although physical and emotional pain impact different brain regions, there's some overlap. Both trigger the release of natural painkillers. So rejection literally dulls the same pain signals as a punch to the gut. Fact hash 12. Daydreaming, get this. We spend around 47% of our waking hours zoning out and daydreaming. Why? During those moments, our minds are allowed to wander freely. Researchers believe daydreaming boosts productivity and creativity by helping us work through thoughts and mentally simulate scenarios. Fact hash 13. The mere exposure effect. Ever notice how the more you're exposed to something, the more you tend to like it? That's the mere exposure effect in action. Basically, familiarity breeds affection. The more we see a person, product, song, etc., the more appealing it becomes, even if we don't consciously realize it. Marketers know this trick well. Fact hash 14. Verbal framing. The way things are worded can drastically shape our perceptions. Describing a situation as a 97% employment rate sounds way better than a 3% unemployment rate, even though the stats are the same. Our brains get hung up on that positive versus negative framing. No wonder politicians are so calculated with their phrasing. Fact hash 15, the anchoring bias. When you hear a number, it has an undue influence on the numbers you deem reasonable afterwards. That's the anchoring cognitive bias. For example, if I asked for the population of New York first saying, is it more or less than 25 million, you'd likely guess much higher than if I anchored with 5 million first. Fact hash 16, bystander apathy. The more people present during an emergency, the less likely any one individual is to help out. It's diffusion of responsibility through bystander apathy. If you're the only witness, you feel compelled to take action. But with others around, the personal obligation diminishes as you subconsciously assume someone else will step up. Let me know if you'd like me to continue exploring more interesting quirks of the human psyche. Our minds are wonderfully weird and complex. So there you have it, 16 awesome psychology facts to make you say, no way. Which one surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe to our channel, smash that like button, and ring the bell so you never miss new, mind-blowing content. Have an insightful day.